When you think of Salem, you may think of Halloween, but the city offers so much more, like the Peabody Essex Museum. In a city rich with history, they're redefining what it means to go to the museum. Amongst its many accolades, PEM, or PEM for short, is one of the largest art museums in the country outside of a major city. But according to Director of Communications Whitney Van Dyke, this isn't your typical museum.
PEM always pushes the envelope about what you can expect about a museum experience. It's the oldest continuously operating museum in the whole country. It was founded by ship captains in 1799, and ever since then, it's become an epicenter of art and culture on the North Shore of Massachusetts.
What makes PEM so unique?
Well, PEM is unique not only for its incredible collections of art that you can experience in the museum, but the museum's campus also includes more than 20 historic house properties that are dappled around historic Salem, Massachusetts.
And heading PEM's historic structures and landscapes is Stephen Mallory, who took me for a special tour through historic downtown Salem. This place is really a history buff's dream, where you can look at the artwork, you can go inside the building, but it's really so much more than that. It's so interactive with all the historic homes that you own.
That's exactly right. We're in a unique position where you can see Chinese porcelain and paintings and furnishings and hear stories about the people who created them or brought them here. And then you can walk right across the street and go into houses where they were actually used. Of those, most of them are listed on the National Register of Historic Places, and 4 of them are National Historic Landmarks, which is like the ultimate pedigree for an American historic structure.
What's your favorite part about working at PEM?
Well, I think it's the synergy between being an art museum that also is a steward to these what are major local and national historical landmarks, and really being able to have the opportunity to bring them even more back to life and connect them to the community.
The first stop on our tour, the iconic John Ward House.
This is the John Ward House. It's one of 2 authentic 17th century houses that the Peabody Essex Museum owns. The floor plan of the interior is essentially intact from the 17th century. And the thing to really pay attention to when you're inside is the exposed timber frame, because it's really a work of art of 17th century New England architecture.
With its low ceilings and preserved artifacts, walking inside feels like taking a trip back through time. And just steps away from the John Ward House sits another 18th century home full of history.
This is the Crown and Shield Bentley House. It's one of our historic properties, built in 1727 to 29 for John Crowninshield, who was a merchant. The more important story of this house is the story of the Reverend William Bentley. So much of what we understand about Salem's history in the late 18th and early 19th century, that early national period, we get from his diaries. A lot of rooms are in substantially original condition. The floor plan is the same as it was. The woodwork is, for the most part, all there. And the house is actually furnished according to historic documents.
Set up exactly as it was when it was first occupied, this house is kept in pristine condition with colonial decor around every corner. And right next to the Crown and Shield Bentley House lies one of Salem's largest and best preserved historic properties. So we're here at the Gardner Pingree House. This is definitely one of the biggest houses we've seen today. What's the history behind this one?
The Gardner Pingree Mansion is really one of the great jewels of Salem. It was built for John Gardner in 1804, and it was designed by Salem architect Samuel McIntyre. It's considered probably the finest example of his architecture that survives today and considered his masterwork. The furnishing plan is based on historical documents and contains many pieces that actually are original to the house.
One walk through this beautiful home and you're immediately immersed in the elegance and style of the time.
Next stop is the Ropes Mansion, which is about a 2-block walk away from here.
I'm excited for this one because it has ties to one of my favorite movies, so let's check it out. A short walk over to Salem's McIntyre district, we find one of the city's most recognizable historic landmarks. We're finally here at the Ropes Mansion, and of all the visitors that this house gets per year, how many of them want to see this house because of Hocus Pocus?
Well, you can't deny that part of that is connected to the movie, but also it has a lot to do with the fact that this is a neighborhood asset that has these incredible grounds that are open to the public from dawn to dusk, 7 days a week.
And what does the inside of this house look like?
It's preserved the way that it was when two sisters, Mary and Eliza Ropes, returned from the Midwest in the 1890s. So when you go through the house today, you'll see it kind of frozen in time to the early 20th century, but with generations of family artifacts. So you get this kind of complete picture of house, landscape, history, furnishings. It's really quite an experience.
And if you'd like to experience a piece of Salem's history for yourself, visit PEM.org for details about their historic homes and upcoming tours. It's time now to go around New England for a look at some noteworthy museums that are worth the visit. Step into medieval times with a trip to the Hammond Castle Museum in Gloucester, complete with a drawbridge and bell tower. If you're up for it, sign up for a candlelight tour and visit the castle after dark. The Heritage Museums and Gardens in Sandwich is the largest public garden in southern New England. Located on 100 acres, it offers a little of everything, from traditional museum galleries to spectacular gardens and nature trails. Along Rhode Island's coastline, learn the art of the car with a visit to the Newport Car Museum, featuring a private collection of more than 75 vehicles focusing on 7 decades of automotive design. Up in Maine, the Ogunquit Museum of American Art was founded in 1953 and houses a collection of American artwork dating back to the late 1800s. The museum and its 3 acres of sculpture gardens overlook the Atlantic Ocean. And in Salem, New Hampshire, America's Stonehenge is argued to be the oldest man-made construction in the United States, estimated to be over 4,000 years old. The site is an accurate astronomical calendar that can still be used to this day. For more notable places to explore around New England, visit cbsboston.com/New England Living. After the break, the legendary Joanne Chang joins me in the test kitchen to show off her latest creation when New England Living returns.